maybe somebody mislabeled what they gave me, but I was told I was on Molly, which generally, you want to have sex or hug somebody, and I was like trying to find let's hijack an airplane. I guess I would have.
Now, because he had some kind of he had definitely had an experience. I think he was sober when we met him. I remember a story where he was like, he was like the guy in the chill out tent helping the kids ride it out kind of thing. And then someone, wasn't he here when Margo had that one mild heart attack? Yeah, he sat with her. That's what it was. Yeah.
I do remember that. Erickson texted us and said, my computer just froze up. Give me 5 minutes. Having no luck at the moment. If you guys have started, someone hit record.
I already did.
What a douche. He didn't record. He didn't. You got to charge that shit ahead of time, yo.
Issues with Erickson.
I know, man.
He's so quick to fucking jump on anyone else. It's so funny.
Well, I'm like Trump. I project, obviously.
Yeah.
Forward.
Forward. Only forward.
He's always the one fucking this shit up. Meaning I'm the one.
And he's going, I don't even understand how somebody could be so stupid to dump beer in their microphone.
Yeah. I don't know. I could run the science on it, but I still don't understand how that happened.
I watched it happen. It was pretty good.
Yeah. It's probably the marbles. The marbles shifted. Maybe the marbles shifted during the podcast.
I've been in a couple studios, but I've never been in one that had marbles on the ground. It seems to kind of take away from the recording experience. We got banana peels and fucking
right, yeah, like
trucks.
I have it set up like the Home Alone kid. Well, now that I got that crossbow, that's a fucking quite an item. It's not my friend Mac lent it to me, but it's like he said it's like an antique looking thing, and he said it was like marketed to kids in the 40s. So it's like this was
like lawn darts.
Yeah, it's a legitimate fucking killer. I could definitely fuck something up with it for sure. And it's
Andy, if it was made in the 40s, there's like no safety precautions in the building of that thing.
I know. Oh, I know. It takes both hands and a foot to cock it.
Are you gonna ask your roommate to give you a foot?
No. Well, yeah. I talked to Bobby about how I could accidentally miss with an arrow. I was trying to Steve Martin myself, and it went behind me.
I just got your reference. To Bobby. That was fucked up.
Yeah. She had an apple on her head, and we were gonna do we were doing a TikTok.
She said the arrow wouldn't go through the Bible on her chest.
It really is a test of faith.
I didn't mean to hit her in the throat. Fuck, she should have had a Bible in the throat too.
No, the guy told me this site has to get adjusted. I was just checking.
The thing is, you can't hit with that arrow what you're aiming at. So that would be my defense. Like I wasn't aiming at anybody. I was aiming to the right and down low.
I just saw something on this, Andy. It's called the Archer's Paradox.
Yeah.
When you've got a bow and arrow, like a regular bow, the arrow as it slides past the bow part, not the bow part, but the whatever the handle part is, it will curve, and then it'll go back and forth. And I'm like, how does anyone hit anything if you're told that it's not going to go, the arrow is going to be bending the whole time it's going out? I just don't get it. But there's a thing. It's called the Archer's Paradox.
Yeah.
And is that, you don't have
this is it.
Arrow on that, do you?
No. It has a safety too. So that's nice. When you're cocking it back, you pull it back with both hands, and then it just cocks automatically, and then you go about the arrow. But unless you're a nitwit and plop the safety off while loading the arrow, it's almost like I can't hurt myself with this thing.
Oh, don't say that, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like
that.
They're
like a
so
challenge.
safe.
Is this thing?
Is this thing loaded?
Yeah. Oh, there's one in the chamber. Ka-thunk. I hear the turkeys now, and I'm shooting arrows at the target, and I hear the turkeys. I'm like, yeah, you guys better start fucking learning a new path around here.
That fucking thing is big. Has that got some weight to it? That thing is hefty, man.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Solid wood, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. In the target, I got that target in back, and it's a lot. I finally got a real legitimate hobby besides stealing bark dust. You know.
This is a hobby.
Well, yeah. For now.
Just like shooting, like.
No, it's just part of it's part of his general violence hobby. This is just lumped in.
Well,
small part of the violence hobby.
Yeah, I tried to get a target from Dick's, so I ordered online. I said, send me a Dick target, and they sent me this thing. I don't even know who this guy is, but it's like Dick's. I think his name's something different. Anyway, I'm not making a threat against anybody. I just wanted a target that it would be fun to shoot at.
So you have been practicing?
Yeah, I got 4 of these, and I got them right in the fucking glasses. I've gotten the neck a bunch of times, but it's kind of, my yard's sloped, and so I'm, again, that does sound racist.
Don't blame the Asians because you're a bad shot.
Hey, hold on a second. I got Erickson's on the line. What's up?
Hey, there he is.
What's going on?
My computer's just frozen. It's completely it won't do anything. Control-Alt-Delete won't override anything.
Hold the power button down until the screen goes blank.
I did that too. That doesn't even make it go off.
That's weird. I've never heard of a Mac doing that.
It's not a Mac.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very common for a Windows machine.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
It finally did go off.
There you go.
Is there any objects around that you could potentially harm yourself with?
Andy's got a solution here, but I don't know if he can spare the arrow.
Yeah. Put it out about 30 feet away from you and hit it with it's called a bolt is what I've been told. If you shoot an arrow with a crossbow.
All right, we're on. I sent a request for you to join the call. So call me back on this if you can't. All right, bye.
Hey, maybe charge a watch next time.
He's brutal.
Yeah, well, I had thought about this before. Is you can download the app to your phone and do it. You could still do it from your phone.
I did that while I was on the road one time. I mean, it sucks. You got to stand there like this.
Yeah.
Sit or whatever, but
yeah, that was when I got dangerous with the bow and arrows. When I was trying to film it, and it's hard to hold this heavy crossbow and then get a good angle on it.
You said it took 2 hands and a foot, and then now you're trying to do a selfie.
That's to cock it. Okay. No, I was trying to videotape aiming it, and it's hard to set the bow down and then catch the arrow. You got to be really quick to catch it before it hits the target, of course.
You have to have a fucking fast aperture on your camera for certain.
Yeah.
Or a second camera. But
maybe a cameraman.
But yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm gonna get more target, a few more around, because it's like, get proficient at it from different angles. You can't be a outdoorsman with a. I wonder if I could open carry a crossbow. Do I need a permit?
It's strapped to your side, like on on your belt, walking through Walmart.
Hey, look who got here! Yeah.
Hey. Andy's been shit talking you the whole time.
That's all right. I probably deserve it. I guess that maybe I should check my grandma porn a little more thoroughly before I download it. Some of those sites aren't on the up and up. I'm starting to think.
Trustworthy.
No.
It's too bad. It's too bad. Porn has really always been kind of unethical. It's like it shouldn't be. I finally finished that It was the Deep Throat. No, it's called something else. What was her name? The chick.
Linda Lovelace.
Yeah, Lovelace was the title of it.
Behind the Green Door.
Yeah, but it was like in 2 parts. Yeah, it was like, and then it went to 4 years later, and it was like, she it was kind of a rough. She didn't make a lot of money doing that, and the dude, You know, he went on to manipulate, own another porn star that I was my favorite back in when I was a preteen. My mentor would rent Marilyn Chambers movies, and the dude who broke Lovelace into the cocksucking game, he also broke Marilyn Chambers. So kind of inadvertently, I learned from him watered down through performances and then live art.
Are you giving us a lineage like a Buddhist top like teaching? I learned from Lao Tzu.
Well, I guess Marilyn. Well, the guy taught Linda, and then Marilyn may have learned through what Linda did. She was the pioneer, and then
they are contemporaries who would recognize the professionalism and where the industry was going.
Probably shared notes.
Or someone just pushed their head down into a cock and they said action.
Well, in my film school coach, he was like, "What do you think of that?" And then he said, "It's okay if you want to take it out and play with it." And I still was like, I didn't get the I was like, "What's that?" Take it out and play with it, or whatever. It's like,
That's why take out the tape.
I mean, is Shaylee
juggling it?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you want me to?
As Shaylee knows, I don't really follow directions very well, even when they're specific. So if they're vague like that, it's like, shit, So I ejected the videotape and started kicking it around.
Like a soccer ball?
Yeah. But then I woke up and then I learned, I woke up and then I was, it's like he wasn't very good at it. Like he didn't watch the film very intently from a coaching standpoint either. It wasn't anything like it was portrayed in film, nor did it sound the same. It's like the boom. It's like the boom mic guy got too close.
Oh shit! Happy 50th episode, fellas. It's good to see you. I feel like we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like Andy, completely leapfrogged that whole period of time when you find the dirty mag in the woods thrown out from the car or something, and you have today. Everyone's got access to everything. It's sad. Maybe it'll be a thing where it won't even matter. But back then, when you found one and it was, tucked away in a shoebox up in the garage somewhere. I mean, but Andy went straight to, hey, whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, well, and then
movies, you got magazines.
I was, let's just say, it's like if you it's like maybe you did LSD and went to your first light show or whatever. It was like I was on the cusp of being a man, and I see fucking cool porn, I didn't like the camp counselor or whatever. He made it very uncomfortable, but I still like fucking blown away by the movie and everything. And then I was like, then I went home. I was a paper boy during some of that period. And then I remember I was just like fucking envisioning scenarios where some woman might blow me. And there's an old woman who, she one time, like kind of a bee, like she had a robe and I could see beeve, like I think she intentionally, I was collecting and she had her open robe.
Oh, she knew you were coming by.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
so it's like, and it's like, and I'm like in my head, I'm like a 6th grade kid. He's seen enough porn to go, here we go, man. And it's like, it's like, I think she was supposed to invite me in or something and to say, could you help me, help me with this thing or whatever.
The belt slipped off the vacuum cleaner.
Right, but I always look forward to collecting at her place.
Oh,
and I was like, it's like, it's like, I don't know. It's like if you're an aggressive kid or whatever. It's like I was like, I got turned on to porn with no real fucking explanation by an amateur. It's a guy who was like, let me select titles. I'm a kid going, this looks good. What do you think of this one, Steve?
I mean, the only thing that kept us from being wasted through the entire 4 years of high school was that we had to try to pimp beer or we had to try and steal liquor. Can you imagine if your parents owned a liquor store where they let you lock up at night? I mean, you basically, Andy, that was you. You had unlimited porn where like you weren't sneaking or you weren't, meeting at the fort to check out the magazine or something.
But only when I was with the dealer.
Well, yeah.
When I was home, I couldn't rent them titles. In fact, there wasn't even a video store like that around here, around where I grew up. I had to go to Bill's place. And I did that later in, when a different paper route with my old man. That was earlier, but that was the first. I didn't even know what those were. The porn magazines at Bill's place.
Oh, at the newsstand.
Yeah, but I started finding porn magazines on my paper route too. Like that was like, oh fuck, and then I was like, I already knew kind of what I'd already gotten some coaching, but not. It's like my daughter was ice skating. At some point, she needed better coaching. And we did, you got to realize that. Like, I was like, it's like I went to Pop Warner football camp and I needed to go to, like Jim Zorn football camp or some shit. I was a player, I was ready to fuck an old woman on my paper route. I needed fucking guidance.
I just picture that chicken Kingpin. You knock something loose.
There was and this was just a rumor. This is how horny of a unleashed kid I was. There was a doctor in town who had a daughter who was in Playboy magazine, and she moved away from home or didn't ever even lived in this home. But I delivered papers to the Dr. Kennedy, and his daughter was a playmate, and I was like, somehow I thought if I just loitered around, hovered around or something, maybe the fucking playmate would show up.
Dr. Kennedy kind of rake your leaves.
Yeah.
And
No charge.
Dr. Kennedy wasn't happy about it because the story was he went around and bought every issue of Playboy magazine all around the county or the state because he was, like, man, let me have a crack.
What's more on the shelves?
Hey, I'm just a paper boy, but let me have a crack at her, Doc.
Fuck. Oh.
Yeah, so it's all it's all that guy who broke Linda Lovelace's fault.
Fuck. I like to think that it seems like, a guy teaching Linda Lovelace and Marilyn Chambers how to suck a dick is a little bit of mansplaining. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think you kind of, once there's a dick in your mouth, I'm going to have to guess here, but it seems like you kind of just figure it out, right? Is there a lot of consultation?
So to speak.
Do you have to go to the instructions? Do you have to flip through and fold the paper over and get it to the right side? Oh no, these are the French instructions. I got to flip it over to the English.
Who speaks Portuguese?
Yeah.
Sounds like somebody's been testing out some technique there in quarantine.
Hey, it's been a long couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, I sucked off a banana, man.
Just to see if you could.
Yeah, it doesn't. If it's really about relaxing the throat. It really is.
Yeah.
At least with the banana, it doesn't have greasy hair. It doesn't have greasy hair and saying shitty things to me while it's doing it.
It's not yelling at you.
Or staring at you.
Yeah, that's my least favorite kind of porn is when some dude's ramming a sausage on somebody's throat. It's like, I was always somebody who, when I went to the doctor and they'd have me, it'd always make me gag. I was like, I can't imagine. Like, that's, it's like waterboarding,
I think you're supposed to put yourself in the dude's position when you watch that, not the chicks.
Yeah, that's what happened at camp.
That's where you're going wrong.
Well, turns out.
Andy doesn't even think poor girl. He thinks poor me.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's gotta hurt. I can't even imagine. How would I even breathe?
Yeah. Turns out I was
wrong
being
roll. Wrong roll.
I was being groomed to be more of a Lovelace and not really a director. But that was the thing. I know they probably Hollywooded it up, but it's like when she sucked dick, it was like, oh my, like they'd never seen it before. And it's like, come on, it was going on a while before Linda Lovelace, right? It had to.
I don't think on film.
Sucking dick?
Yeah, like,
Are you talking about on film?
No, just in general, like would she
Of
like?
course, it's been happening.
Oh, okay, yeah,
because they just invented cocksucking in the 70s.
Weren't the Greeks into butt fucking? I think they probably started with the dick sucking. You don't go straight to butt fucking, right?
I'm starting to wonder how the figure out maybe the Black Plague might have been. Did they wait? Did they butt fuck and then go right to the oral? It's like there should be some sort of
mouth. That's what started the Black Plague. ATM Black Plague.
They did it in the wrong order.
Yeah, they call it the Black Plague, but it was really more of a white person thing, right?
Shit.
Good times. Yeah, I do feel like it's like I don't know that my neighbors have seen this yet, and I don't think that they would feel good about this.
Crotch.
I don't feel good about it.
But I mean,
I'm afraid.
Yeah, and he, I would hate, it's like one of them things, though. It's like the targets aren't over there, and I can't envision a situation where anyone would get hurt. But I got it.
I can't.
Difficult. 50 scenarios right now.
I'm having difficulty.
In the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having difficulty picturing a scenario in which someone doesn't get hurt. That's the difficult thing to imagine.
Let's start with your history of poor decision making, right there. You don't even know what could happen based on that.
We don't need to go back any further than this vodcast and look at your history with microphones.
Yeah.
I mean, just the chance for a fucking tumble and drop and an arrow in the thigh because it landed on the rhododendron and
right, yeah, I have this.
Look at that, it ricocheted. Yes, it can ricochet. The fucking arrows go crazy. You're shooting that in your fucking neighborhood for real?
I saw the tiger, and the tiger saw me. That's the good thing about this being a slope back there. And hopefully I don't shoot high and hit the Asian people that live up above the slope.
There's people behind where you're shooting?
Wait a minute. Let's not get past the fact that you just said if you miss the slope, you'll hit an Asian. Let's fucking stick on that for a minute.
It didn't even register with me. I'm too concerned about the neighbors over the knoll behind him where he's shooting.
I would have.
If I missed the slope, it could go through a chink in the fence.
Exactly. So you gotta be real careful with these darts. And
a chain link fence won't stop an arrow, right?
No, but I missed the target a couple times because I'm trying to be spontaneous and
quick draw.
Yeah. Exactly.
Quick draw crossbow.
Yeah. Like
looking at me.
Trench.
Turn around and shoot.
Trench coat, and then it said like, "Hey McConnell, fix this" or whatever,
Oh God, Andy.
But sitting down, I was very. It's like I need to the cat. I'm not worried about the old cat. I'm worried about the younger one. The old one's gonna stay there. He ain't gonna work his way up the slope, and get hit. But it's nice to know. It's like it's a good sense having. I know how people who have a gun or a temper feel.
This is why I was afraid. I wasn't thinking about ricochets or accidents. I'm thinking about Andy getting pissed off at his neighbor for mowing his lawn at the wrong fucking time. Going,
in the middle of the day on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I'd imagine the guy who's got his earbuds in and he's weed whacking, and Andy's pissed because he's making noise and he's trying to do the podcast, and arrows are flying by this guy, but way off, and the guy never is even an hour later he finds one in his yard. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, you really need a tree near them to really make the whole thing work. But man, that'd be a fucking, I'm not going to travel anywhere. I wouldn't shoot at anything but made up targets.
Yeah.
But it would be fucking, that'd be like if you were just fucking hanging out at your house and a dart hits the wall, you fucking piss somebody off. It's way more personal than a gun too, I think, It's like if some kid took a crossbow and I forget what they call that thing you keep your bolts in and back.
Your quiver?
Yeah, a quiver full of bolts, and you go into your school and you're like, "Hey, motherfuckers!" And you're like, "Hang on," set it on the floor, cock it, boom.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, where's the captain of the football team? Let me get this thing loaded again.
Hey, someone step on this for me.
I think you see the downfall right now. The football team might get you.
Yeah. Well, you'd need a few landmines.
No, they just call Squint. Call Squint over. He'll run protection for you.
I didn't realize. So I checked out Squint using his God-given, and he was on Facebook, and he did do something with explosives and had some trouble up there in Montana, and then his last post had something to do with lung cancer, and I forget there's some. Oh, he had. I didn't read the speech because I think he took it down, and nobody ever commented on any of Squint's stuff, neither. But he said, "I'm sorry if I upset anyone with my talk about Beth, the Bulldog's wife, but I got lung cancer too." So Squint, upset, who perceived that he upset some people, but I don't think anyone followed him since that bus incident. I don't think anyone followed him.
It seems like Squint is still the kind of guy who would climb onto the visiting team's bus and swing a chain around. So.
Yeah, he's waiting for the call.
And if you're wondering who Squint is, here's what you do. Sign up for the Issues with Andy Patreon so that you get the extra after party show that we do every time we do this, because that's where Squint made an appearance last time.
Squint's basically the story when people say, you need to find somebody to fight your battles for you, and you shouldn't feel ashamed about that. It's like not everybody. I wasn't good at it wasn't good.
That's a valid
strategy. A saying. I've never heard that as you need to find someone to fight your battles for you. That's not a fucking regular saying.
Yeah, it's like that movie. It's like the movie The Bodyguard. It's like I'm a pussy, but how do I get to be less of a pussy?
Are you Whitney Houston in this analogy?
No,
Squint's carrying you.
No, I don't think. I think it was I don't think it was. I think there was a better movie called The Bodyguard before
I think it was called My Bodyguard that you're thinking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My Bodyguard was actually, but there was probably sexual tension in that one. But man, I could have used a big fucking dude to, I mean, that Tom Wilson situation where I got the injured hip, I would have just sent in somebody to fuck up Tom Wilson.
It was the basis of the entire Game of Thrones justice system. So,
yeah, that was like
a champion for you to fight your battles.
I got bullied, and I bullied some, but I got bullied more. And then, I was like, this one guy, I think I told this one, Tom Wilson bullied me at school, and I ended up with a damaged hip. I forget, I was like, had an injured hip, and I went to the doctor, and my dad was pissed, and he called the school and complained, and he told that principal, you better do something about Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson was a year ahead of me, but he was a fucking animal. Like he was he's a white kid, he was built like an ape. It's okay to say that. If you went to your school, you'd go, wow, what a fucking monkey looking motherfucker. And he's fucking white trash monkey. And Tom, if Tom, you're listening to this. Yeah, Tom Wilson was like, even, like Tom Wilson probably would have fucked the bully up or the bigger kid up. It's Tom Wilson. It is a mental case, but he fucking, like he was our best football player. And I remember one time he was like, I wasn't playing that year. I was honing my comedy skills, like you do on the sideline, like fucking, great play. Now we're down 30, you dumb cunts or whatever. And, and then I was like,
there are no great comics who were starters on their sports teams growing up. Everybody was riding the pines. They had a lot of time to think.
Yeah,
They
when
learned
I
how to
would
dirty their uniform during the drills.
the only yeah, exactly. I fake like I gave a shit. Like when we were getting beat by a lot, I'd start yelling shit like I was frustrated, and the
Kicking
coach
water
would,
bottles.
like, God damn it, put someone in here who cares, man. And then coach would you'd look through me and look past me.
It's not you.
Wait.
It's not you, right,
You've
Andy?
told this. You've told this before, but this just tells it a little bit differently now. You said,
Oh no,
Ah, shit.
Oh.
we lose Erickson. There you go.
That-
Oh, it's Eric. There
Hold
he
on,
is.
Eric.
you weren't yelling like, "Come
Yeah.
on, let's go, let's get him." Am I gone?
Yeah.
No, you're there. You're there now.
No. What he meant was
He
he cut out. Yes, you cut out
Yeah.
quite a bit. Start from the
No,
beginning.
what I was gonna say is that Andy's told this story before about being upset on the sidelines
Yeah.
and yelling and to show emotion, but now we're finding out that what he was yelling was at his own coach to be better at his job.
Well, yeah, like in the I would do that like a couple people away or whatever. Jesus, we're getting our asses handed to us, and then I would like slip past it. Like I would try to pin it on other kids,
I'll be back.
But
on his own team.
well, my team sucked, and it's like team pride is something when you get a couple of wins, but when you're fucking losing and shit, and you worked, you gave up Bonanza to go work out in the summer, just when they're gonna do all the hop sing episodes, you're working out and you miss all that shit, and then it's for losses. So it's like I like being on the team, but I didn't care. If you're not playing and you still care about the team, it's like that's a special kind of stupid. It's kind of like being it's probably like being a Trump fan. It's like it's like we're losing, I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna go. But there was this one guy in particular, Bobby Gunther, who he did my team, and he was always yelling shit, and he didn't get to play that much more than me or whatever. It's like, Jesus, take it easy, Gunther. I would like kind of work Gunther through the first couple of quarters, and then about the third quarter, fourth quarter, when we're getting blown out, that's when me and Gunther would get in. So but
Like a pep rally on the sideline.
but I was all at that point. It was they say there's no I in team, but once I got in a blowout game, it was all about me. Basketball or whatever. It's like, give me the ball. I'm shooting it, man.
Was that your other sport, Andy?
I played I played all sports, but I quit them all. Or got kicked. I got kicked off the football, and then eventually I quit all. I thought I quit. I made basketball a little bit, but then after that freshman basketball situation, it would have been pretty hard to make the JV team as a disgraced junior. I was coming back as a defrocked junior, so
fall from grace.
Yeah, and then so there was a Christian team that played. They still may be around now, called Athletes in Action. So we were there was a team. We were originally called ourselves the Bong Squad, but we were having trouble getting any serious competition. But we decided, as a bunch of juniors, we'd just travel around like the Globetrotters and play
the Generals.
Play local teams. Like we'd go to Coos Bay or whatever and go to a Y game, and then we'd get the court and would beat old dudes or whatever. We had to get our competition somewhere, so we'd go beat old dudes and addicts that were playing. There was a rehab. And we called ourselves Athletes Not in Action, ANIA or something. Shit, but mainly we were just a bunch.
That's really the height of cleverness.
Yeah. We were just a bunch of guys who like getting fucked up, and we weren't really, it's like it's like a unregulated militia or whatever. We went around. We didn't know if we were even going to have a game. We were like a fucking a band looking for a fucking gig, and yeah. Our highlight though, and we played in Portland, and we had a couple of other components, but there was 5 of us, and we played 5 inner city tough guys that were good. They were fucking, and we beat them through just like fucking nonsense and some lucky shots, and they were ready to kick our ass, and rightfully so.
I actually found a picture, Andy, of you guys playing.
Yeah. That's a few years. We had more of the John Stockton shorts back in my day. We had more of a chance of a little fucking ball cleavage. Yeah, these guys might even think they're winners, you know. We got Coquille, I think, lost so much population that they went down that they're probably playing such a loser league now. They're probably winners. But back in my day, we were still priding ourselves on being a town that had potential.
Oh, you like the division? The division slipped because
yeah.
No
The
pop.
size.
Yeah, we were AAA, went to AA, and then A. I don't even know what they are now. They're probably NAIA or whatever.
That's college, dude.
Yeah. Hey, I was thinking of athletes, not names.
You don't go up.
Don't talk about playoffs.
They're so bad. We're gonna put them in the college division.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's community college.
Well,
Good.
There's only 4 of them. We got to put them somewhere.
I was more.
It's a numbers game.
I was a better basketball team player in college than I ever was an athlete in high school. And I was it was a work study program, and I worked for the athletic department. So I basically let anybody tell me what they wanted for stats, and I would give them that. And
yeah.
I tried to, if I could have changed,
just imagine some scout that has to come down from University of Washington Huskies and check out this young power forward who's been averaging 38 rebounds a game.
Rory, you got to get down there and check out this kid. We're going to lose him. You got to get on a train today.
His numbers
down
are
to Coquille.
I didn't take him up on it because I didn't understand the culture at the time. But Clarence offered me to watch him bang some pussy for 5 rebounds extra. Like, no shit. He's from Alabama, and I was like, what? Like,
for 5 rebounds, he was gonna let you watch him fuck another person.
Not fuck a chick.
He
Watch
said
him fuck a chick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's a guy with confidence. I don't think he even needs to juice his stats. That is a confident player.
Yeah, he didn't even need the points. He just wanted you to watch him fuck some chick.
Yeah, and then here's what.
I don't know how much rebounds are worth, but I don't think you're getting a good deal.
No.
Here's how little I understood about the culture. Is Clarence was from Alabama, and one time, and all the other guys thought it was hilarious. And I was like, this is the first time in my life.
Told everyone, this is not the fucking Black Sox where everyone keeps their mouth shut. Would you fucking open an ad in the school paper that you'd shave points or give rebounds?
No, man, we just all hung out and
he tacked it up. No, he tacked it up to the bulletin board with his name and phone number across the bottom on the little strips. You know, like, you want more rebounds? Yeah, like he was mowing lawns or
two
mowing
rebounds
lawns or giving rides home from college.
Yeah, any player that I worked with went from their stats went up and their minutes played stayed the same, but production. It's hard to give a guy points if they don't shoot the ball, but I did.
You solved that.
Yeah. Witherspoon's made 6 points off the bench, not getting not like getting off the bench.
Not
neither.
even here today.
No, yeah. Spoonsy, like I needed him not to,
Bumps. He's not even here, Andy. Well, I saw him fuck his cousin, so I owe him 5.
Well, when we got caught with all that stolen merchandise, and it was like that's when it became like there was a lot of
girls' underwear. Don't call it merchandise.
No, I did it in college. We still better. In college, we got
steal?
LBC. We got all of us got.
It's
LBCC.
only merchandise if you resell it.
Oh, cool. So yeah, it was just gifts. I was a work study and so we climbed over. Somebody climbed over the wall. It wasn't me. It was one of the better athletes. And, one of the better athletes scaled the wall, and that was where all the travel bags, uniforms, and everything. So I got some uniforms. I tried to specialize in the men's stuff, but basketball stuff we tried to get out there and help in the community by selling it. or whatever. Yeah, we had a garage sale and sold a bunch of it. But yeah, I was like, I don't know what
I like that. I like that there's a controversy, that there's an entire gym bags full of the Coos Bay athletic equipment has gone missing. I wonder who stole it. It couldn't be the kid selling Coos Bay uniforms out of his garage every Saturday.
I still had that. I still carried. It was actually in Albany, but I had the LBCC, where the Roadrunners, and I had that for a ski bag. It was like everybody got caught, or Clarence ratted us all out, was what happened.
Right.
Because I was like, I didn't understand. We were all in trouble. Like I lived the life. I was like, I took advantage. I found perks that weren't built into the job. Like I called, long distance all throughout the world. Like there was I called the Spectrum. Like, hey man, do you know what the score of the game is? And I hear them open the door. I just call randomly places and shit, and it would show up as like private number.
Spectrum.
Yeah, I did. There was like it's like I don't know. I could have found the game on the radio, but I just found like call the forum. I was like, somebody would answer if you left it ring long enough, and it'd be like a security guy and go, hey man, could you go find out the score? A couple of times they did it, man. I hear a guy go, and he come back, and he goes 126 to 114, and that is a final. I guess if that phone rings, it's somebody important. God. A lot of things. Like that's how I got a black belt in karate. As I was, had a key to my sensei's. Let's just say, our relationship ended poorly in karate. And I couldn't go back to the dojo. And he said, don't call it a dojo. It's a gym. But I was like, it's a dojo when I'm here. And but I took his black belt. I got his black belt out of his locker. And I remember seeing him skulk around the office that day with his
you obtained a black belt. You didn't earn or work towards it. You just owned one.
Well, I beat a green belt, or green or purple. I beat a purple belt, I think, in sparring, and then I got kicked out of the class. So it was like, fuck that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, Shaley. The saying is, I have a black belt in karate, and that's true in Andy's case. Yeah.
It takes discipline, but not all, or a key, a master key, discipline or master key. What do you want to do? You want to go get fucking yelled at by a sensei for 6 months, or do you just want to get a master key?
Something to hold up your pants.
I earned a black belt with a master key in karate from a community college dojo. I don't use it. I don't. It's like I prefer to just let people fucking talk this shit. But if I need to, I could. I don't have it anymore, though. Black belt wise.
Yeah. You did all that work, Andy.
I know.
We didn't think you meant what it takes. When you said I don't have it anymore. We knew you meant the actual belt itself.
Missing.
I don't have it in me anymore. Man. I don't have it anymore, man. I just can't get out there.
Out of the game.
Yeah. It's like it's like I'm that guy in the show. Was it Kung Fu? David Carradine walking around. It's like, I do not wish to fight. That's what I say. I don't wish to fight.
You'd call him Squint.
Yeah. It's like, I guess I've been, I remember once there was a bunch of my friends, and there was a bunch of frat guys, and it looked like there was going to be a fight. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to get beat up. So I took a few steps back. And then I saw one of them fucking frat boys who's totally focused on a different direction, and he's talking shit. And I'm like, yeah, as soon as the first punch is thrown, this guy's getting fucking taken down. Because it's just like playing special teams in football. I can block somebody who sees me coming, but that's going to hurt. But if you hit, did you see Andrus cock that one guy? Holy shit, man. Yeah. Because I did a little research, I'm not going to fucking hit the guy who's like fucking manning up and chest to chest with me. I'll fucking get out of that. That's what they call the coronavirus zone.
The hot zone?
One time, a friend of mine, he was like at a frat party, and then he stole their kegs and shit. And that's what I did with it. It's like, I'm not, let's not fight these guys. Let's wait till they're fucking yelling at people on their front lawn and then go in and take their kegs. I don't know how this guy we called he was named Pukin Dan because he actually earned that one. He was like, he had a Chevelle and there was like 3 guys in the car with him and his head was, I guess trapped is the word for it. Trapped between, the door or whatever. And he puked a lot. He was like the life of the party guy. And he's still a fun guy. Puking Dan was,
As long as you didn't pay the security deposit, you thought he was a fucking cut up. I love it.
Oh no, Dan was, he was like, a fat guy who could do cartwheels, kind of a Jack Black, and a guy who drank a lot, but
type.
It's like they played. It's like you find out that a lot of times frat guys will fucking leave their kegs unattended, and it's like I didn't join a fraternity, but I sure enjoyed the privilege of living by one of them for a quarter or so. I was like, the best beer the best beer you can get is from frat guys. Like, why would you fight these guys? Bait them out. There's better ways to get the advantage over people. The squirrel is fucking way adorable today. It just came back to me. I missed the squirrel. I've been,
Well, it's probably been watching you fucking finger fuck that crossbow, and it's like, I'm gonna stay over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could probably.
I noticed, Andy, every time you're holding that crossbow, you put your finger on the trigger too much. You should only put your finger. I mean, Chad, back me up here. The finger goes on the trigger.
Goes on the side, right?
When you're ready. Yeah, you put it on the side. Oh, come on, Andy.
Don't do that. That's just frightening, man. Come on, dude. You're freaking me out.
Oh, man. Hey, man, it's cool. Hey, we're wild and crazy squirrels. No. It's like that rat. It's like that rat song, Round and Round. I put an arrow through his heart with Brazilian nuts. There you go.
Love will find a way. Just give it time.
Hey, cock the crossbow and then shoot the Brazil nuts at the squirrel.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, man.
I got it here.
Jesus.
This is the only podcast where you can do this. Really, I think.
Is it cock? Oh, no, don't, Andy.
Don't actually do it. It'd be like a bullet.
It's not cock.
It's just fed him a Brazilian nut.
Oh, you're using it. No.
Put it on
it's so nice that you're using this weapon as a serving tray.
I didn't even have any arrows. Even if I lost my temper with the squirrel, there'd be like a 30-second cooling off period while I ran and got an arrow, and then 8 seconds to cock it. If that squirrel's hanging around that long, it's like, fuck. I'm not gonna. I would never hurt my squirrel.
And if that squirrel knows you, that squirrel is probably like, don't worry about it. That crossbow is probably a lighter.
Basically, that squirrel is what you were saying about Cave Dave or whatever. It's like, Cave Joe, if I have a bad LSD trip or whatever, I kind of count on that squirrel to talk me down a little bit. I go, whoa, man, it's all good. Where are those nuts? It's all good. Why don't you go get them nuts out of the house? I know you're crying, but go get them nuts.
Hey, crybaby, go inside and grab some of them Brazil nuts.
I'm sorry. Hey, I don't care about the 80s. Quit crying and go get me them Brazilian nuts.
It is important to have perspective.
Yeah. Well, we're at 50, huh? We got 50.
Yeah.
We had to grow up quick. We would be like 40 or 30 something now, but the coronavirus hit, and we had to be the man of the house.
Yeah, you stepped up. I really feel like that.
Yeah, us and Todd Snyder.
There are some good quarantine live streams. I watched Ben Folds last night, and that was really good.
I'm
Yeah,
enjoying.
he's playing with the camera. He's taking requests and he's playing with the camera right above the piano, so you can actually watch his fingers
Oh,
as
wow.
he's
nice.
fucking doing that. And it's like I've seen that dude a million times, and he's an amazing piano player. But you can even, no matter where you're sitting in the crowd, even if you're sitting perfectly angled, you still can't really see him playing.
Yeah,
You know,
half the crowd
so
or
he's
a
fucking
third of the crowd
half
can
the
only
crowd.
see it. Yeah.
Only a third, and they can't see it that well. This is like, you're right on top, and he's just looking right at it. It's pretty cool.
Have you seen any of the Fogerty family? They're kind of fun. Facebook Live, John Fogerty and then his kids play. They're,
Shit!
But as
I like
far
him.
as
I'd
he
watch
plays
that.
the songs, and his daughter's kind of hot. I don't know. He didn't. It's kind of they kind of. It's like a show. He tells a little story, and then the kids won't say much at all, and then they play, and then the mother's off camera and will just throw glitter, and they sit by they sit. It's real. It's fun to podcast or do those
Yeah.
things with an epic
Yeah.
property.
Yeah,
I mean, I
exactly.
think I'll set this one up so the vineyard's visible or whatever, but
Right.
I got a squirrel and chipping paint.
I saw a
yeah.
live stream of Blue Oyster Cult doing Godzilla. And
Nice.
yeah. And I'm like,
Those
wow,
guys
man.
are alive?
Yeah, and it's like, how many times they're playing it, they're nailing it, right? Of course. How many times has an original member in Blue Oyster Cult played fucking Godzilla?
Mm-hmm.
How many? And they had smiles on their faces. They fucking nailed it. It was fucking great. But I'm like, Jesus, man, they've been playing that song for over 50 years.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Right, 70s, yeah.
One of the times
They could play they could play that song like they were talking to the cops on Law and Order.
Yeah.
one of the remember
You know
one
what
of
I
the,
mean? Like they could be getting interviewed by the Law and Order cops about a homicide, and they could be answering those questions while still fucking
Noodling, yeah.
I haven't watched any live streams, but I did watch on YouTube last night. Mark Normand has a
he's
special
great.
that is fucking
Yeah.
very
extremely funny.
Yeah, so I recommend that one.
He's got that TV funny where it's like he can. Maybe this isn't the way the world is anymore, but he seems like the guy who could easily transition into being a wacky neighbor on TV because he's got that very calm kind of, cooler than the room, but kind of a weird nerd and a sly grin. It's like, dude, you're gonna make a lot of goddamn money.
I've been following him on Twitter for a long time just because he's hilarious on Twitter all the time. So
and he has like an old creepy face image on Twitter. So I was like, this guy's pretty funny, but he's looks like he went to a wax museum when they were working.
He thought it was a real
He thought that was him.
Yeah, got his face too close to the fucking brush or something.
You're like, wait a minute, is this Argus Hamilton?
I don't know what that picture is, but it's a creepy fucking face.
Yeah, he's very funny.
Well, I mean, since we're talking about it, I might as well throw the plug in here.
Yep.
We got Doug's special, The Dying of a Last Breed, comes out on Tuesday the 19th. It's I think you can get pre-order. Well, by the time this goes out, it's out. So check it out.
That's today. That's today.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can order it right now.
Get that.
You can once you're done here, order away. Or
maybe when you're watching it, pay special close attention not just to the jokes Doug's telling, but to the Andes Shaylee is throwing out from the back of the room.
It's like my window to really trip is so small. So it's like, it's like, it's questionable timing for, sure it is.
What's odd is that your window to trip is small, but the window that Doug is not recording is big.
Yeah.
I know. So much time to do that. You peek as they were like, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa, that was who said that? Oh, I know. It sounds like Chad. It sounds like Chad. Chad's coming through the ceiling. Oh
That's
shit!
my friend. I need to go to there.
I can't be in here if there's gonna be that kind of shit going on.
That's what I was thinking. You can't
I
be
mean-
in there.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
when I walked outside and said, "Where's Andy?" And they said, "We don't know. He was trying to talk some pilots into flying him to fucking Colombia or
No, I was gonna go to
Costa Rica.
yeah. Bolivia. No, I was going to
Oh,
Bolivia.
yeah, that's a Coke thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Bill, the pilot, and I was like, "Hey, can I talk to your brother?" Pat put me on, and I was like, "Hey, Bill," and then I gave him the plan, and I was like, and then when you're talking, and then you go, "Wait, is this thing on? Hello, is this working? Hello, hello," and he goes, "No, I heard you. I heard you." I was like, it's like,
just not gonna do it.
You're
I'm
a
gonna
pilot,
pretend I didn't hear it.
right? You could
I'm
just
gonna
fly
say-
a plane. If you could get on a tarmac, could you just fly a plane?
He's a pilot. That's his career.
I know.
That
I know.
was a goof.
He's finally like, I'm just gonna say yes and agree to this so I can get you off the phone. Yeah,
I'll bet.
we'll do
I'll
that.
bet
Let's do
after
it. Bye.
right now he'd probably do it. He's quarantined with little toddlers or a couple. They're like, I think he's got twins that are like 4 or 5 years old. Like he'd probably take
That
a
could
plane
be.
to Bolivia right now. I had a small group, and it was like, I had it's like you don't want to overbook these things, so it's like, we'll get about 6 or 7 people, and we'll fly to Bolivia. We'll just get some of the leaves. We won't. I think if you just get leaves, you deal with the farmers. You
I love to see Andy coming back from his trip to Bolivia. He's got his suit. He's carrying like 2 old-timey suitcases, and they're stuffed shut, but like leaves like hanging out through where the fucking suitcase shuts. And he's just like, "This is all I needed." And you're just gonna turn that into cocaine.
Andy didn't even get the suitcases. He's just got 2 big hefty garbage bags, leaf bags.
Well, and here's the thing. It's
I'm gonna carry these on. They're light. I can put them up in the top. They're fine.
I mean, maybe somebody mislabeled what they gave me, but I was told I was on Molly, which generally, you want to have sex or hug somebody, and I was like trying to find let's hijack an airplane. I guess I would have,
I'm guessing there was more speed than Molly.
You're trying.
Yeah.
You were trying to make love to a country.
Well, I was trying to, it's like we'll make love, we'll have a good time.
Trying to get
I'm
forward
not.
Send that to Bill?
Yeah, can you imagine when we land on the beach and we land this plane on the beach and build
Have
a
you
big.
met my friend Bill?
When we land this build this bonfire, we're all fucking partying and shit, drinking rum. Yeah, that's the time where we go lean into the Molly. But right now, we got to get a plane.
It's like one of those movies where it starts out where the bonfire's roaring, everybody's partying, and you're like, and then after that happens, then it freezes, and then at the bottom it says 17 hours earlier, and it cuts to fucking Andy in Vegas. Like,
No,
I love it. Andy
I
tries
don't
to get
think
everyone
I'd like to do any of those drugs. No, thank you. Oh, well,
Send the
maybe
guy on the drugs.
Maybe
He was
just a
fine.
small.
yeah.
up, guys.
Well, they're
We'll
like,
do them all later.
yeah, Mr.
Oh,
Stanhope's about to go on. You sure you don't want to take this handful of blotter acid right now?
Uh,
All right. I
Dosed
guess.
me. Oh boy. Oh boy.
That stuff doesn't.
Somebody slipped me a Mickey. Oh geez.
So if you can,
Oh,
get on
shit.
Vimeo and check out All Things Comedy
Yeah.
presents Doug Stanhope at the Plaza last year at the
About
beautiful
this- what
downtown
was it?
Las Vegas.
You remember the date of the taping is about this time of year, right? Like
Yeah.
almost anniversary.
Memorial
of 1
Day, yeah.
year.
Oh, was it?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was-
Oh yeah, that's right.
Memorial Day. Yeah. And what else? Should we subscribe to your Twitch channel, Chad? We probably should,
Twitch
right?
channel is go to my Twitter at HDFatty and it'll give you directions on how you can join with your Amazon Prime for free. Made it over 600 subscribers
Whoa.
last week. It's
Yeah.
dropped back down now because it fluctuates, but it's like 560 right now. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's
That's awesome.
it's
Hey,
taking
I'll
Yeah,
get
I
a I'll get a
fucking-
slide for you
The
next week.
content
Chad.
is the content is really good too. That's the thing, dude. You've always kept up with it, and you're always doing shit, and that's what people love. So, fucking do it. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's all. I'm gonna make a drink, and
Yeah.
then let's come
Well,
back and hang out for a little while longer on Patreon and put a bow on this motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop down the. Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Yeah.
See
All right.
you
All
guys
right.
on
Cheers,
Patreon.
everybody. Thanks
Later.
for watching. Come back and join us on Patreon if you want to hang out with us a little bit longer. And like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Cheers.